All right, Joey, our producer's awesome intro. Welcome to Political Bedlam. Hello, Cass.
Hi, Chandler. How's your week been?
You know, it's going, man. It's going. There's a lot to talk about. We're coming at you live from Studio B, emphasis on the B. Our producer is at his house right now, and he's working on some music. And so I bought a cheap little USB mic, and we are trying to do this in my house, aka Studio B. You're going to notice probably a drop in quality unless our producer can really put his 4 years of education behind it and clean it up. So
college degrees are worthless now. He can't fix this.
I actually was trying to talk to the head of my trade school, the head of Francis Tuttle, and I was trying to get him for an interview to talk about how basically college is worthless.
Oh, I was joking, but yeah, no, it's a new world, and
it's not worthless. It's becoming worthless.
It's overcomplicated, but yeah. No, there's people need to consider trade school if they want to learn, a trade.
Yeah, I'd say for like 6 things, college is pretty much not worth it. I mean, like engineering, doctor, law. I mean, there's things you definitely need to like really study for, but there are a lot of things that it's just like, dude, go learn a trade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm studying English, so I got mixed feelings. I'm going to be very hireable.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. Liberal Arts Incorporated. Yeah. Be on the lookout for my resume.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Huge liberal arts industry, just looking to snap you up.
No, I joke, but actually a lot of tech companies are, and not that this is what I want to do, but a lot of tech companies are looking for people with writing degrees because they need, one of the biggest growing fields is technical writing.
That's what I'm doing right now, kind of.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
I saw that. So
that'll be good.
There are career opportunities. If you want to get a career, writing, you can have one. I mean, study what you want to study and make it work for you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So our position on colleges, we're about 50-50, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think we agree ultimately.
Yeah, I think we do too.
We're not going to elaborate, but we agree.
Yeah, exactly. So we were talking before this. We were going to probably change the format up a little bit.
Mixing it up.
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, first one seemed a little too rigid, and then the last one, which hasn't even been released yet as of this point, because we're still going through production issues, but that was way too loose.
It was loose. It was promiscuously loose.
It was something, man. It was, bless our guest last time, but he did not help our format. It was just very loose altogether, and I don't think we adequately prepped him before going in. So, yeah. Shout out to our guest, though. Still a good guy. We love you, London. Political Bedlam loves London. But, we're going to try and just kind of keep it a little bit more lighthearted. Still going to talk about politics, still going to talk about the news.
But we're also going to talk about Venom and why Sony is a garbage company.
I get that.
That's a hot take.
As someone who owns PlayStation, I was going to say, I'm trying to keep this clean, but I was about to just curse you out.
No, I'm a PlayStation man too. I think their hardware is a lot better than their creative endeavors, and they don't make laptops anymore. Sony doesn't make laptops anymore.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
That's insane.
Vios used to be like everywhere.
That was the thing. Like I'm a Mac guy because they suckered me in, and now I'm trapped. But like, if I was going to get a PC, it would have been a Sony back when I was shopping for it years ago. But that's crazy. That was a good computer.
My parents had a Vio desktop. I really enjoyed it. So Sony, maybe start making laptops again and send us some products, and we'll keep talking about your company.
Yeah, well, good or bad, we'll talk about you.
Yeah, we'll talk about
the Sony segment.
I would really like one of the Sony tablets because I found out that you can connect that to your PlayStation 4, and you could like take that to another room in your house, and you can display whatever's on your PlayStation 4 screen. So you can just bring your controller with you, and if you're walking away from your TV and you want to go to the bathroom, and for some reason you're just a crazy person and can't go to the bathroom without playing, you can just set your tablet up and you can just start playing.
That's nuts. So it's kind of like the Wii thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Wii thing. Yeah.
What's that called? Not Wii U. It's Wii.
The Switch.
The Switch.
The Wii U had it, but it was a lot more rudimentary.
Yeah.
I had the Wii U. It's a pretty good console.
Does the Wii Switch come in leather? That's a joke for a very specific part of the audience. So
hey, we're all about niche jokes here.
You might cut that. It's kind of dirty.
Oh. Well, I mean,
Switches know what's up.
until you said that, I don't think anyone would have noticed it except those people.
Yeah.
I think we need to keep it in now.
All right, do it.
Do it. You won't. You won't. Anyway, going back to the, I guess, idea of keeping it nice and loose, I didn't hardly keep up with anything this week.
Oh my gosh.
I was listening to podcasts.
No, like, dude, I'm right there with you. I'm not, like, prepared to talk about all of the news. There's so much. There's too much.
Yeah, it's like we talked about last time, and we sound like we're repeating ourselves, and maybe we're just living in a Groundhog Day type cycle, but it is moving so quickly, and I think we are living in a country whose president basically just uses the news cycle to distract people from what's really going on, and as smart of a tactic as that is, that's not really, I guess.
Oh, it's brilliant! It's brilliant.
It's
if,
so
he's aware,
smart.
if he's aware, that's what he's doing.
Yeah, that's like the biggest debate I think people have about Trump is if he's aware of what he's doing, he's a genius.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
if he's just stumbling into success,
He is stumbling by.
keep going. Yeah,
yeah.
is stumbling by.
But no, you come to us not for our political opinions, which are hot. You come to us for our sultry voices, and because you like to imagine dating us.
Well, one of our sultry voices.
You undersell yourself.
Well, I mean,
I'm a little nasally.
No, dude, no one, everyone I've shown this podcast to is like, who is the man with the golden pipes?
I'm so red right now. I'm blushing. I'm as red as my
last
tummy
time
believes.
Just a circle of compliments.
So this is the first time I've been in your house, and you have a lot of art, and you've got one piece that struck me as I thought you were joking. But would you like to describe this piece?
Oh, no,
of art?
I told you I had it, and you were just like, you kind of like chuckled. You were like, no, you don't have that. Yeah, I do. I have, right when you walk in, one of the first things you see on the left is better dead than red. It's something my dad taught me, his dad taught him, his dad taught him, and then I don't think communism goes back much further than that. But it's a family thing. I mean, I can be apathetic sometimes, but if you tell me there's commies invading, I'll walk right out that front door.
Wolverines!
I can at least talk to the commies that are from here, but if you tell me some, like, Russian commies, some, like, people from, like, the KGB, time hop forward, I'm going out there and I'm dying.
The Soviet Union was ran by evil people. I'm not going to argue that.
You're not a tanky.
Good. Hey, you used the word tanky before I did. Way to go, man.
Yeah,
hey,
I'm very aware. It's Sun Tzu, know your enemy, that kind of thing. So, we're trying to keep our voices very, very, very soft, like NPR, because this mic is not very good.
Welcome to Political Bedlam with Chandler and Cass. Today, we're going to delve deep into the jazz stylings of Miles Davis. And I use Miles Davis because I don't know much about jazz, but I know Miles Davis.
I didn't even know Miles Davis, but I'm excited to hear him.
Oh, you'd actually you got to get Kind of Blue. It's like the definitive jazz album. I have that and the Smithsonian collection of jazz on vinyl.
Oh, you're a vinyl guy. I was just about to ask.
I'm not like
crazy vinyl.
Vinyl. Like, I have it because I think it's a fun experience, because I'm not an audiophile. I can't tell the difference in sound quality between a CD and vinyl, but when I put on a vinyl record, I have to sit there and listen to it. I can't skip around. I can't, like, be on my phone looking at other stuff. Like, that's what I'm doing. So if you really want to just sit down and have an experience, I highly recommend vinyl. That's why I do vinyl.
A lot of people that I talk to that aren't audiophiles just like, in general terms, describe it as like the music sounds like warmer. It sounds like more organic coming through the speakers.
I can't speak to that, but I've heard a lot of people say that. So if that's your gig, go for it.
I mean, you could speak for it. I mean,
maybe
you shouldn't.
You're
but
right.
You could.
No, but you're right. I'm going to lie. Vinyl has a sound quality that is velvety smooth, and frankly, if you're listening to your music in a streaming service, you basically don't like your ears. So,
And you hate the music industry.
You hate the music industry. Well, that's true. Actually, I stream because I hate the music industry.
Exactly.
Because I'm poor.
Right.
So
this podcast is brought to you by vinyl. We're going to beat those pesky CDs one day.
One day. One day CDs will be obsolete.
One day we will take it back.
Spotify's never made any money.
Really? I know a lot of artists complain about Spotify.
It would be like, I would be on the artist side if Spotify was raking in millions at the artist expense, but they don't make anything.
Really?
They break even every year. They don't post a profit.
You think about it. You get on there, and I'm sure everyone, our listeners that are young, get on there. You don't see ads or anything.
Well, I pay for it. Like, I know some people get free, but I have the premium. If you're a college student, by the way, you can get Hulu and Spotify in a $4.99 bundle.
Whoa.
So yeah, definitely look into that. And if you're in trade school too, we were talking about trade schools at the top of the pod. So
if you're in college, you can get it for thank you, Bernie.
$4.99.
Bernie Sanders coming through for us.
That's
he didn't get us free college, but he got us something.
Something.
He got us something.
That's called the Bernie Sanders deal.
Bernie's. I can't do the impression, but he'll get us tunes. He'll get us our shows. I wish I could do. My former roommate Reese can do a great Bernie Sanders.
I did a really good. Who did I do a really good? Not O'Malley. There's nothing to imitate. He's pretty plain.
Who?
O'Malley.
I'm kidding, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. Who? What are you talking about?
Pretty much. God, it should have been O'Malley and Kasich.
That's like saying Jim Davis.
Who?
You
talking about the Garfield guy?
No. Maybe his name was something else, Davis. You remember that guy? He was in the first Democrat debate.
And he talked about how much he loved killing people?
Yeah, he talked about throwing a grenade in a bunker.
And he had this weird, horrifying smile.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Oh, I was rooting for him because that cracked me up.
Doesn't matter. He's gone. He's gone forever.
He's probably out there somewhere thinking about throwing grenades into bunkers.
No, he moved. He's not here anymore.
he's just
if you don't live in America,
Thanos got him. Thanos he's
in
gone.
This snap-apocalypse. You still haven't seen it.
I really need to see that movie if I'm going to quote it. The memes are everywhere. Hopefully, most people listening to this are young and just are participants in the memescape. But the memescape is just dominated with Thanos memes. I see those the little dissolving pattern or whatever on every meme almost.
I'm a member of a Frasier S-posting group, and
nice.
There's lots of I'm keeping it clean. There's a lot of characters from Frasier getting phased out saying, "Niles, I don't want to go."
Awesome. Awesome.
I tell you what, if you're into memes and you're into Frasier, look out some of those groups on Facebook because Frasier fans know how to meme.
Frasier fans are a little bit smarter than the average bear.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Not this bear, but most bears.
Hey, I see what you did there. That worked on 2
Yeah,
levels.
Yeah. All 6 of you.
So as to smart listeners, if we want to just be real Rick and Morty fans about it, Frasier is a very, very funny, very intelligent show. I also like when it comes to more modern comedy. I think Archer is a very, very, very smart show.
It's interesting we segued from Infinity War to Frasier because the Russo brothers defined the relationship they directed between Stark and Doctor Strange, as Frasier and Niles, which, if you know that going in, it is so true. It is unbelievable. Doctor Strange is Niles and Tony Stark is Frasier. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We're being shown another very upsetting meme.
Very upsetting. Very upsetting.
I don't want to go, Jim. It was Michael from The Office phasing away. And
that show went downhill after he left.
It lost its heart, but I still think the writing was pretty good. There's still some funny jokes in the show.
Yeah, I mean, Asian Jim was one of the best things in the entire series, and that was after Michael. But the show did take a dip in quality. It did take a dip in quality.
It did take a dip in quality, and you can tell that there are a lot of scripts that they wrote when they thought Steve Carell was still going to be on, and they transferred that character to
Will Ferrell at first.
Well, Will Ferrell at first, and then who took over as manager? It was the guy from Hangover.
Andy Bernard, a.k.a. Ed Helms.
Ed Helms. They turned his character into a different character because... they made him the manager because he was popular in the Hangover films.
Right.
And which is fine. I think he's a competent, talented, funny man, but
the thing about that is he was a straight man in the Hangover films. Pretty much all of them were straight men except Zach Galifianakis.
Definitely.
Say that 10
Zach Galifianakis.
Get Zach Galifianakis.
I have to say it from that song from 2009, where they're this is. Ignore all of that I just said because it was nonsense.
I was actually getting into it. I was snapping my fingers.
You know that song I'm talking about?
Kind of.
It was really bad. It was by some proto boy band that was this is the edgy one, and it wasn't. She looks like so and so mixed with Zach Galifianakis. Tonight, there's a party on the rooftop, top of the world. That song. It's not a good song.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do. If you heard it, you'd know. It was everywhere.
Yeah, at my old job before this one, about 2 years ago, was where I worked at a lot of car dealerships, and they constantly have the radio blaring.
Like top 40 from 4 years back.
Yeah, dude, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, same thing at my old job. I worked at a party store in the Oklahoma City metro area. Anyway, that's not interesting. So, what else is going on?
Well, I mean, you could probably pick at least 5 or 6 stories with Trump. I mean, let's just really pick one of them.
Yeah,
and let's
spin the wheel and find one. Add a wheel sound effect here, add that.
Let's I'm gonna pause.
It's good.
Okay, so we read some news articles. We did our jobs.
We did do our jobs.
I mean, I listen to podcasts throughout the week, but it's like
I'm very informed. I listen to NPR on the car radio.
Don't you think being informed though makes you just way more just depressed?
It can, but I think
if it's not always for you, I need to learn what you're doing.
I got really depressed around last year in 2017 because I was too into the news, because everything is a disaster. The world is on fire, and I mean it's always been on fire, but I'm old enough to notice it now, and so you got to temper it with other stuff. But I think if you're the kind of person who likes to keep up with the news and you don't, and it makes you depressed, you're going to be depressed anyway.
That's probably fair. Well, let's launch into our walking headline of a president, and we'll talk about the big thing that's coming up. I mean, I guess Iran is in the rearview mirror for now. I mean, its implications will certainly be felt for the next couple of years at least. But
that's at least
we're coming up to North Korea. We got and that's the whole. That was my whole
beef. Buddies in North Korea.
That was my whole beef with the Iran deal. I thought it was a terrible, terrible deal. But my whole thing was, it seems logical you don't cancel a nuclear arms deal whenever you're trying to make a nuclear arms deal with another one. Because I mean, what's to make North Korea be like, oh well, you canceled the deal with your last president, you canceled Obama's Iran deal. What makes us think that we're not going to just cancel Trump's deal as soon as you get out of office?
The difference being, North Korea is starving. I think that's why I think Kim Jong-un is a little more sensitive to that. I don't want to paint him as a good actor by any means at all, but I think he's a little more prescient of the fact that his people aren't eating, and he'd like to stay in power. So
yeah, kind of hard to do that.
Hungry. Yeah,
hungry
bread and circuses. Yeah,
pitchforks, torches, all that good stuff. So we were just talking about how Pompeo announced today. What is he, Secretary of State Pompeo now? Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has announced that, I'm pretty sure.
No, he's the envoy to... Pompeo is not the Secretary of State. Is he acting Secretary of State?
I'm pretty sure he just got confirmed as Secretary of State.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm wrong.
Yeah, that was the confirmation that everyone got really upset about. Because he was originally CIA chief. He started out as, I think, a senator from Kansas.
I thought... Oh, wow, I was really misinformed on that. Let's continue and erase some of that.
No, you're fine. Stupid. Anyway, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo came out today and basically said that the U.S. will provide economic relief if North Korea will come to a good deal on the table.
We give it to Iran, why not North Korea?
Yeah.
Or we give it to Saudi Arabia, why not North Korea?
Yeah, that's bizarre to me. I mean, we were having a great conversation during our little break here about... just the concept of foreign aid, and our referee, so to speak, and producer Jeremy just put up his hand and said, save it for the pod.
I was getting fiery.
I know, dude. I could see it in his eyes, and steam was starting to come off his forehead. Cass was getting angry.
I'm sweaty, and I'm hot, and I'm angry.
Yeah.
So it's a fun combo.
Yep. His inner, I was going to say Stalin, but you're not a tanky, so inner Marx is coming out.
Let's cool it down and let's just call me who's that Oklahoman up in Wisconsin? The lady everyone thought she was going to run for president.
Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren.
She's in Massachusetts, I think.
No, she's in.
I think she's on the East Coast. I'm almost positive.
I am just firing on no cylinders today.
No, that's okay.
I don't know who anybody is.
Voice saves it. Is it Massachusetts?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Massachusetts. All right. Well,
I pay attention to all of our haters. So.
I'm the king of Iraq, so we've all got our thing.
We've all got our thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so
I'm not the king of Iraq?
I think you could be the king of Iraq.
I'd take it.
Yeah, I think you could be the king of Iraq, and I mean, if you really had a good day, you could be a mullah in Iran as well. You could be both things.
That's charming.
Yes, let's just talk. I guess breaking away from being funny and lighthearted, let's just go ahead and talk. I guess about the concept of foreign aid and how we both feel about that.
Well, I think that we started to talk about why giving foreign aid to countries when we can't feed ourselves. We have started.
Pause for the viewer. That was the point I brought up. Is I said it's not appropriate for us to give foreign aid out if we have homeless people and starving people in the United States.
But we don't have to have homeless people here. We have homeless people, and we have hunger by design. That's not a byproduct of
hunger by design in terms of a capitalist system.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the idea that we can't give foreign aid to other countries is a moot point because we have the funds. It's the distribution model that's broken. We have more than enough food to feed everyone on the planet. What's the idea that there's not enough resources? What's that called?
Scarcity.
Scarcity is a myth. There's plenty of food.
It's a myth in regards to some things, and in regards to natural resources, not always a myth. But when it comes to food, yeah, definitely a myth. When it comes to oil and timber, I mean, there's tons of things
which we shouldn't be using.
Minerals, I mean, like iron and steel. I mean, there are things that are scarce, but I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah, food is not one of them.
I mean, if we just let's just stick to food because there's more than enough. People in this country eat too much.
We throw away 13 stadium worth of food every year.
That's not even the problem, though. Even if we didn't eat too much, and even if we didn't throw away our unused food, we would still have a surplus. We could still have a surplus, but because the way the economic model is set up, we have farmers burning their crops, not growing certain crops, not selling certain crops. We have artificial scarcity created so that you can make money. There's plenty of food. We have enough food to feed the world, and I don't mean just the United States. Every country that has growable fields. Hunger doesn't have to be a problem in the 21st century, but it is because people are greedy, and we have people growing coffee when they could be growing grain. So it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Go ahead.
So I mean, would you say? I think that's a great point to jump off on. Would you say the fact that farmers are growing certain things because it's more profitable, and then there are also cases where farmers grow things because they would get more subsidies for growing things, such as corn. Whenever the ethanol thing was going crazy in 2008, I'd say it's a mixture.
Ethanol.
Yeah, right. That's a laughing point. I'd say it's a mixture of both, I guess, corporate greed and government meaning well, but kind of messing things up with subsidies.
Wow, you sound really red there.
I had a burp.
No, I know the burp, but I mean, it's corporate greed. It's exactly what it is, and I don't think there's any.
I don't think it's entirely that. I mean, I'm sure that definitely plays a large part of it. But I mean, when you have things like farmers just throwing away fields that have grown potatoes for decades just so that they can grow corn because the government is giving out subsidies, that's the government manipulating the market to, I guess, for some reason, I guess it was to replace oil a little bit with ethanol, whatever their meaning was. I mean, it was good intentions, but I mean, that kind of...
Well, we put corn in everything. It's sugar.
Yeah,
so
no, I mean, corn syrup...
there's a huge demand for corn syrup.
But, I mean, subsidies do at some point. When farmers are deciding what I'm going to do with this field, if subsidies are going to play into more of a net benefit for that, I mean, if you're going to be able to get more money...
Of course you are.
So subsidies, I think that they play a portion. They play a portion.
Yeah.
Whether that is a significant portion is probably subject of a more nuanced debate than we're qualified to talk about, but...
Well, can I go off on another side rant real quick?
I love your side rants.
I've got good side rant.
Anyway, Cass, so we were talking about your point that I think you forgot and then made up a better point. So let's hear your better point.
Better point about?
Just subsidies also damaging food supply.
Yeah, no, we don't grow to what we need. We grow to what's profitable. And when profit is the end goal, people suffer. The distribution model is hell-bent on creating wealth, not creating sustainable systems of agriculture. And I remember my side point now. This is my little side rant. we are always talking political systems about how, why aren't doctors running for president? The two doctors in the last election were Ben Carson and Jill Stein, both raving lunatics.
Not great.
So like, originally, and you're not going to hear me say stuff like this often, but the founding fathers intended us to have farmers. Like, that was the farmers and lawyers, sure, the only people who should be running for office, because we have a really complex legal system that isn't understood by people who do end up running and winning, and we have our main concern should always be feeding the public. The most important job on the planet, when you strip away all the artifice of bureaucracy and the money-making profit system that we have, it's feeding people. Farmers are the most important people. So the fact that we're not doing everything we can to allow farmers to do their job, to allow them to feed us, we're making mistakes. And ultimately what it all comes down to is food and water, and if we're not securing those resources, you got Monsanto, you got Nestle just screwing everything up because of their search for profit. When you take away profit as the incentive model, we can have better outcomes for humanity.
I would argue that point a little bit. I do think it goes, the profit and just, I guess, really greedy capitalist tendencies do go overboard. But at the end of the day, profit, the incentive to just create a better product so you can undersell your competitor is what is driven down the price of virtually everything, including food, over the years. It hasn't necessarily gotten healthier for us, but everything has become more available and more cheap because everyone is competing. Like, the profit motive is a driving factor in capitalism. It's one of the positive factors in capitalism. I think it can run away from you.
Sure.
But I do think it is a driving force of innovation.
Yeah, it is a driving force until one guy ends up on top.
But would you scrap the entire system, or would you try and curb? Like, I wanted to get to this, and I think this might be delving a little bit too deep, but just about how I don't think that we currently live in a capitalist system. We live in a corporatist system or a cronyist system, and that's kind of a right-wing talking point.
That's just capitalism, though.
Not necessarily.
That's the end game of capitalism.
It's when like high-level officials in companies or high-level executives can use the vehicle of government to crush out or choke out their competition. That's when there's a problem. When there's not a free market because people are using the absolute power of government through lobbying, through restrictions, through, I forget what that thing, ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, where corporations write out bills for senators and reps to pass. It is not a free market. It is not a level playing ground whenever they are able to use the power of the government, the absolute power of the government, to choke out any competitors, whether they be new startups or just companies with better ideas. I don't think it's a problem of capitalism. I think it's a problem of capitalism and government intersecting in a bad way.
Which is when the government should take control of them as utilities.
That's where I think we would fundamentally disagree on that, and that's probably heading into a pretty heady ideological.
Well, you want to go back in time, conservative, and I want I want a revolution. So, these problems are, they've always been the problem of the system. They've always been the problem of our uber capitalist notions.
But they existed before capitalism. Scarcity, hunger, resources being.
But now we know better.
You say that.
We're not acting on our knowledge is the problem.
Yeah.
We know how to grow crops in a way that's sustainable. We know how to make our resources last, but that doesn't create profit. So we have to completely change the model from the ground up so that, we're not growing a bunch of corn to sell to Coke to make corn syrup. That we're growing grains and corn to feed people, and that's not what's happening.
Yeah, no, I would disagree with that. I definitely think it needs tweaking. It needs changing. I don't think it needs to be changed from the ground up. I think we need to become, like you said, smarter, and we need to learn, we need to create a capitalist system or tweak our current system to show more empathy. We need to have smarter consumers. I think the profit motive is something that can always be harnessed to innovate and create great things. But a lot of critiques of the capitalist system are totally valid.
So what you want to do is you like capitalism, but every now and then we need to reel capitalism in.
No, I think that
I thought I trapped you. Yeah. That's a Hillary Clinton quote. Okay. I thought I was going to get you.
No, I mean, not with the Hillary quote. Come on. Maybe with the Bernie quote.
Okay. Yeah. That's even further.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, that's the thing about Bernie is, like, I disagreed with, like, I've got to keep it down. We've got to go NPR volume.
This is, just for our listeners just tuning in, this is Political Bedlam with Chandler Ogle and Cass Wantland.
Yeah, no, back to my point. Yeah, no, I agree with like 85% of what Bernie said. It's the 15% that made me just disagree with him. But back to what I was. Why did I even originally say that? Remind me, refresh me.
We were talking about you want capitalism to be
okay, not rein
different
in per se. And this might be unrealistic. This might be a lofty goal, but for capitalism to be both ethical and responsible and to avoid a lot of those problems you're saying, we need to have not only a smarter citizen, but a smarter consumer. We need to have people who actually care about where their products came from, whether there was cruelty involved, whether there was unfairness involved. I mean, that might be unrealistic, but I think it is a tenable system if we have a smarter consumer and we can avoid a lot of those common criticisms.
But name a corporation, name a company, name a product that is without sin. And when I say sin, I don't mean, oh, this guy had to work overtime on the weekend. I mean, that is a sin, but...
Zondervan Bible Company.
I don't know what that is.
They make Bibles, and I think they make a real point not to sin. But jokes aside, I mean...
Wait, what is the company called?
Zondervan?
Zondervan, I don't know.
Can we Google that to make sure I'm just not crazy?
Zondervan. My Bibles come from the Catholic Church, so the only Bible I have in my house...
Organization with
is completely the New American version, so... It's the Catholic Bible. It's annotated. It's a very good Bible, both for the spiritual and the academic.
Oh, yeah, nailed it. Zondervan is an international Christian media and publishing company.
That's terrifying, but...
That Mardell knowledge just... Speaking of Oklahoma, go buy stuff at Mardell. They're an Oklahoma company.
Yeah, and support the smuggling of artifacts out of Syria, supporting the...
And Israel. Don't forget Israel.
And ISIS. That supports ISIS.
They put it in a Bible museum. And I cannot talk too much trash because I went to high school with like all of their kids. So I can...
That's hysterical.
Oh, I mean, of course I went to high school with their kids.
I can talk the trash.
No, yeah, you definitely
Hobby Lobby, what the heck are you doing?
Besides selling great crafting products.
No, it's
at a cheap price.
My partner goes to Hobby Lobby and he hates it. He wished there was a Michael's in town, but he
I like Michael's. Is there not a Michael's in town anymore?
There's one technically in town. The way Oklahoma's
it's on Kilpatrick, right? Or the Turnpike?
Yeah, it's on the Turnpike, and we live so close to the Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, you gotta go Hobby Lobby.
It's impractical. But if you're able to not support Hobby Lobby, don't. But if it's the only choice you have, it's a pretty good choice. And they do pay their employees a lot. Starting salary, I think, is $11 for a retail worker, which is... It's not good, but it's better than everybody else.
I'm talking good comparatively.
Yeah, and in Oklahoma, you can make that work.
Oh, yeah, cheap cost of living.
But not all three Hobby Lobbies in Oklahoma, just saying.
Yeah, I think we should get more to our discussion of, I guess, the point that I was trying to make about just pure capitalism versus more socialized capitalism. I think we tried to kind of appease both sides.
I didn't even try to appease both
sides. Not you.
For yourself.
No, I'm saying historically, what we've kind of done with the United States government and economy over the past 50, 60 years is try and we'll do government regulations, we'll do government industries, but we'll also do a free market. And when you do those two things, it just becomes this just hybrid monster where profit-driving people are going to just use the vehicle of government. I think you can either go one way or the other, or you can go like I said, and you couldn't just I guess product education, just like I said, a smarter consumer, and that might be a pipe dream. But
the American system has been a traditional neoliberal system, which in the truest sense of the term is a very capitalist-friendly system. Since Eisenhower, really, that's how we've been operating, and it's worked great for the United States, but we're at the end stages of that being developmentally sustainable. I think late stage Bush, Obama, and now Trump, which is still vexing to me, but here we are. We've been a neoliberal governing system, and there hasn't really been a left. There's been, a right that's got some attention, but they've never, with the exception of maybe Reagan, they've all been, classically centrist.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say. Obama, people talk about him as a socialist, but he's really...
No, he was pretty centrist. He leaned left, but he was centrist.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to get into the whys and hows of that. You've got Google, listeners.
Or Bing.
No, you don't have Bing.
You can give Microsoft a little love.
Our users aren't Bing users.
Is anyone Bing users?
I use Ask Jeeves.
Ooh.
I don't even know if they still exist.
Ask Jeeves, you are a pretty small company at this point. We're a pretty small podcast. Why don't you throw a boner away? We'll do
I'm not against it.
Yeah, go
I'm not against it one bit.
Go to ask.com. Google's going to track your location, your purchases. Ask Jeeves, frankly, just doesn't have the money to do that. So,
but the real back to our original talking point that brought this up.
Okay, keep going.
Is we were talking about the Iran deal and its effect on the North Korea deal. Why is our country saying Iran can't be Iran, but North Korea can be North Korea? It's nonsense.
I think a lot of, and we're actually probably agree at the end of the day about not canceling the Iran deal, even though we do believe for different reasons. But I think part of that is the United States being a country that came from a revolution. We've always kind of, for better or for worse, either we take sides in revolutionary manners, so to speak. And I think a big part of it, Trump addressed this on the campaign trail, is Iran, the whole Arab Spring back in 2015. They have a pretty moderate, young, liberal population, and they are really craving a more secular revolution. And a lot of them were really praising the canceling of this deal because it took a lot of power away from the mullahs.
Is it really a lot though? I've seen that group talk, and I think that's a fairly overrepresented group, kind of like our next topic, incels, but we'll get into that in a second.
It was one of the top things trending on the Middle East, which is actually not just the Middle East. On the Twitter category, the Middle East is Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq.
Saudi Arabia is a bad actor, and we shouldn't be their ally.
And UAE. It's not the Middle East. The Twitter categories by region aren't quite accurate to what they actually are, but it was one of the "Thank You Trump" hashtag was one of the top things trending the day after the cancellation.
Sidebar: the United States can't claim to take a stance on human rights when we are allied with Saudi Arabia.
Oh, and we were also one of the supporters for getting Saudi Arabia on the Human Rights Council of the UN, which is one of the most horrific things ever.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
They execute LGBT individuals by hanging them off of buildings. They kill journalists. It's horrific.
But you know what they have that other countries don't?
Is it our favorite thing?
It's our favorite thing. Yeah, you know what we're talking about.
Is it going to make my car go faster?
It can make your car go so fast.
Awesome.
Which is another sidebar. It's one of those things that makes Justin Trudeau such a vexing figure, because the American left loves him because compared to Trump, he's a socialist. He's not. He did a recent arms deal with Saudi Arabia. Justin Trudeau's just like everyone else. He's not special.
He was really pretty. I mean, I'm a straight man, and I saw pictures of Justin Trudeau when he was 18, 19. I was like, dang, I get it. Did you not see that? People ran a piece showing his 18, 19-year-old pictures.
I tell you, if you're into North American hotties,
ooh, who we got?
Nino Pinta. I'm getting his name wrong. Pinto, Nina. The president of Mexico.
We got our producer
is
looking on
damn fine. And I know his name. Sorry, I'm blanking on names today.
Is it Enrique something?
I don't think that's right.
What's his name? Enrique Pena
Nieto.
We were both kind of right.
Nieto. I kept on saying Nino. No, he's not a child. He's short, but he's not a child.
Nino.
He's very short.
It could have been a tropical weather storm. Aren't those called El Niños?
El Nino. I got an El Nino.
That doesn't make sense to me. How can it be a tropical weather storm and a child?
Is it a storm or is it a
I think it's a storm cycle.
It's a cyclical thing.
Yeah.
But now we have the Godzilla El Niños, is what they called them.
What?
They call the one we had, I think, in 2017, 2016 was nicknamed the Godzilla El Nino, or an El Nino Godzilla. And it's just this really El Nino-y El Nino. I'm not a meteorologist. Google. You've got Google or Bing or Ask Jeeves. You go figure it out.
Or, as our producer pointed out to me, and I actually really like this, I have them on my phone, DuckDuckGo. They are awesome. Use DuckDuckGo. They have all the functionality Google has. They will not track your location. They will not track your purchases. which bothers me. Have you ever like looked at something on Amazon like briefly, and then you're on Facebook and it's like, oh, this has followed me for 2 hours all around the internet?
My partner loves it. He thinks it's great, and I'm like, no, this is bad. This is not okay.
We've got to bring him on here. I just want to know the differences between you guys.
I mean, like
awesome.
he's not nearly as far left as I am. But
we work together, and he's one of my favorite people.
Oh yeah, no, my boyfriend and Chandler and I all work at the same place, and
so sweet. Where Cass is outspoken and brash. I mean, his partner is just so sweet. And it's just very agreeable.
He is a sweetie.
We got really loud. I get really passionate when I talk about your unnamed partner because I don't know how
he's spoken for.
He is spoken for.
So watch out.
If I were to ever make the jump over, you watch out, dude. Watch out. I would nab him, or at least I'd die trying.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I love our tangents, man. They're great.
The tangents are the best part.
They're the best part. They're the best part of the whole podcast.
The best part of the whole podcast. Pause it real quick.
All right. We are here, and we are going to talk about...
Don't tell me what I am.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
I'm not...
I am here, and Cass is however he wants to identify. And we are about to start talking about a new group that poisoned Reddit and has now made its way out onto the streets.
I don't like that we're talking about them, but we have to talk about them.
We're talking about incels, which stands for... Cass, you want to take over?
Involuntarily celibate.
Involuntarily celibate.
Which is an oxymoron because celibate is
a choice,
It
right?
is implying choice.
Isn't it like a religious thing, I thought?
It can be religious. It can be celibate for a number of reasons, but usually it's a religious reason.
Yes.
So the evangelicals, practicing Muslims, even some non-evangelicals, it's a common... Catholics practice celibacy, and they're supposed to. They don't. But they're supposed to. I can say that I'm Catholic-ish. So, like...
Take that, Pope Francis.
Take it, Pope Francis. Let that out.
No, we're keeping it. We're rolling it. Anyway, they are... incels, so to speak, are in the news because some guy, and I will not say this piece of filth's name because I actually agree with this, but Ben Shapiro and Daily Wire, you should not say the name of mass killers and whatnot. Just don't give them any platform or opportunity to be famous. It might be kind of a small point, but anyway, some piece of garbage decided to just take his rental truck and just go down a curb in Toronto, and I think he killed like 50 people or injured 50 people. It was a lot. He hit a lot of people with his truck.
Well, it is a, for lack of a better term, a religious train of thought because it poisons your mind. Again, that sounded incorrect. I don't think religion is inherent bad, but. No, like, there was that shooter in California who posted that video of himself before the shooting, and this was before...
Elliot something, I remember.
Elliot something, yeah. And he was just like, all of you women are... And it's just like the most...
It's entitled, man.
It's such entitlement. It's such sexist entitlement, and that's, the problem with a lot of society is oh my gosh, I can't even think of the term. Not chauvinism, it's toxic masculinity. But back to the incels specifically, there's like 20 of them. They're just really loud, and every time someone talks about them, we're giving them a legitimate platform.
I don't know if there's just 20 of them, man.
No, there's not just 20, but...
I think there's a lot.
And there's a lot of people who have this same train of thought, but the incel movement itself, the people who are calling themselves incels...
That's smaller. Yeah.
It's smaller, and we talk about them like they're... ISIS or like white supremacists.
They're literally just basement-dwelling.
They're basement-dwelling nerds, and they are the scum of society. And
not for being incels, but for just whining about it and blaming women for it.
Yeah, I mean, which is their whole. They have a philosophy. They have a belief set that is cultish and is religiosity. It's just a gross group of people, and they are,
I mean,
they're not real.
It's just sad. I mean, imagine like logging into a message board to talk about how you didn't get laid that day, and you want to hear someone else's story about how they didn't get laid. I mean, it's just like, of course the depressing just kind of chat. Of course, that breeds toxicity. I mean, I don't know if the correct answer. The original, I think it was R Incels. The original group was shut down by Reddit. And now there's some other group that's kind of taken over that's not as extreme, so to speak. Well, it's migrated to other websites and
yeah. I mean, they're they're scum, and I don't want to say anything more about that. I don't even want to talk about their tenets, which they do have. They have like a set
not
of
going to publicize them here.
tenets that they believe, and they're all nonsense.
Yeah.
And I'm angry we have to talk about it, but they're part of the news, and people like, the fine folks at CNN and the New York Times love talking about them like they're a huge group of people, and they're not. They're a problem, but the problem is wrapped up in our global society's toxic masculinity, which...
We can talk about that at another point. I think we could have a great conversation about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's mostly semantics.
It probably is mostly semantics.
Yeah.
Anyway, just to kind of, I guess, put a little fine ending point on that. We live in a literal world of pornography, and sex robots are on their way. So incels,
chill out.
Could you guys just chill out? Just chill out for about I don't know, 10 years maybe.
Also, I've seen some really ugly people. Excuse me for being blue, getting it on. So these guys the reason they're not having sex is because they're sexist and treat women poorly.
Oh, you have terrible
and they feel
personalities.
entitled. Yeah.
And confidence is the sexiest thing alive, as one of my mentors once taught me.
That sounds like a bunch of BS, a bunch of
talking points.
But it's not. Confidence is really, really attractive. Mm-hmm. So these guys are just a bunch of neckbeards.
Yeah, and if you're an incel, I guess point one is...
we don't want you there.
Well, I was actually at point two is stop listening to this podcast right now because we don't want you as our audience. I say that. What if we just became huge within the incel community and we started making money?
If they're giving us money, I'm okay with it.
If we're giving us money, that's fine. I guess we should probably get to a point where we can wrap this up.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. It's perfect. Our producer just showed us a meme. It was Bill Nye with the "Consider the following" graphic, and it was a noose. So
we do not
condone suicide. But
if you are seeking suicide, we're going to give you the suicide hotline number in the footnotes and at the end of this episode.
Unless you're an incel, and then you're on your own.
No. Don't say that.
Don't say that.
But no, we want you to get help, and
God, thanks, Jeremy. This just got really dark.
Yeah, if you feel that kind of emotion coming on, and we can all get there. The number for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255.
Thank you, Jeremy, for making us have to read that.
Thank you, Jeremy. I'm sure we'll read it again.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure it'll come up again.
It's a legitimate thing. It's great. Call it if you need to. I've had some friends who've had to call it, and
they're well staffed, and there are good people there. I've had multiple people save their lives.
And here's the thing: if you're considering suicide, you might not be okay right now, but I'm actually not qualified to talk about this, so cut that out. But yeah, no, for sure.
I think you're qualified to at least say that. I mean, it might not be great right now, but I mean, there's some great movies coming out. I mean, there's things to look forward to. Like, whatever the problem is, there are things to look forward to. That's all I'm going to talk about. It definitely not licensed psychologist, but probably going to bring it up to we're going to wrap it up here.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Thank you, Jeremy, for making us address suicide before the end of our podcast. I'd like to thank our guest. Hold on. Before I do that, I'd like to apologize for last week's episode. We talked about at the very end that we had a guest, and I was not actually able to get a hold of her. So that was a phantom guest who will be coming on at some point in the future. But we should have a guest this time, and we're recording this ahead of time. So I'm going to go ahead and say thank you to our guest, Kate Ogle, my cousin. Great fiduciary. Loves talking about tax bills, just finances in general. And we are going to be bringing more guests to you soon.
If you're getting a financial advisor, always choose fiduciary, not non-fiduciary.
Yep. Fiduciary is, I think, legally required to look out for your best interests for a financial advisor.
Exactly.
Yes, it's
exactly.
not. So always choose a fiduciary if you are one of those people privileged enough to be able to invest that much money.
And that's a Bedlam fact.
Yeah, that is a Bedlam fact. Thank you for listening, everyone. I hope you just have a fantastic week. You want to say something, Cash?
I kind of hope you struggle. I hope you learn some stuff about yourself along the way, and it's not all going to be pleasant, but you can learn from that.
All right, signing off from Political Bedlam. Thank you, guys.